right. Hello, everybody. Well, I guess I got to do the intro here.
See aircraft that were clearly talks about
Greetings and welcome to Conflict Radio. All right, everybody. Greetings and welcome to Conflict Radio. Today is October 27th, 2021. We weren't going to do a show today. We had a guest scheduled for tomorrow that canceled. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go live tonight. And, there's probably not going to be a show tomorrow. We'll do open lines tonight. Now, I've been getting a lot of crap about these guests canceling. I don't have any control over that. All right. So, we can't just come in here and do open lines every night, can we? I suppose that's possible, but we really can. I enjoy having guests. I like having guests. Sometimes they bail and there's not really much I can do about that. So on Monday, I canceled the show on Monday and I rescheduled the guest because I actually got stuck in jury duty. Yeah, I had to get up early in the morning and go down to the courthouse and sit in jury duty all day long just to be sent home at the end of the day, dismissed for the rest of the week. So let me give a shout out here to everybody who's hanging out. I see Will Carr is here. Will, I guess you and I have talked about that, and I forgot, but I figured it out. So Professor Game Bum is in the house. I see the Happy Plague Dr. Heel here. He's probably going to call. Bash Wolfwood actually talked me into this show. He's probably going to call in as well. Jersey Dolphins is here. How's it going, Jersey? Maybe you can give a call in. I see Rick278 is here. How you doing, Rick? Hank Stolk. Don't stress about the things you cannot influence. That's right. You know what else I'm not going to stress about? I'm not going to stress about. Well, I guess I'm not going to stress about what I say tonight. I will stress about what you guys say. So when you do call in, because we're going to talk about what's going on in the world right now, because that's what interests me. That's what I'm interested in. I want to talk about what is going on with the ports, with these mandates, I suppose, with these supposed everybody else is taken off, striking and marches all around that nobody wants to talk about. How you doing, Pyramid 7? Welcome to the show. I see you here. Yo, yo, yo. Pyramid 7 is here. So I don't know, honestly, if you're not worried about the state of the world right now, just turn the show off right now. Just turn it off and go listen to some ghost show or UFO show somewhere else. Hey, Hugh Godarn says he's here. Guys, go ahead and just pop in because I'm just rambling and I'm just going to say what I feel like saying. And I think that we've got some big problems coming up. And I honestly believe that we are in a war with China right now. I really, really do. I think that they've unleashed a virus on us. I think that they're working with facets of our government. Okay, bye. Yep, see ya. Bye, Tim. There's a lot going on. There is a lot going on, and I honestly think that we're watching what we're seeing on TV is crap. I'm a truck driver, and we're having big problems in the ports. Some ports. Remember that big? I think it was a few years ago. There was a big story about China buying a lot of our ports. Didn't they buy the company that was running the ports? Doesn't China own the ports now, or at least a lot of them? Don't they own the companies that actually run the ports? Big shock, right? Hello. People need to wake up. Something isn't right. Something is going on, and we could talk about UFOs and ghosts and that sort of thing. I get it, but that's not what I want to talk about right now. I want to talk about, and I'm sick of being told that I can't talk about certain things or or I guess nobody's telling me, but I have in my mind that I can't say things because I'm afraid the channel's going to get taken down. Honestly, honestly, really, I get it that's something to worry about, but we should be able to say what we want to say. We should be able to talk about the things that are on our mind that we want to talk about. Yeah, that's right. Rick says, let's speak out and not get censored. Let's do it. Let's just talk. Hank Stalk says we are played in a chess game of which we don't know the rules, not even know the chessboard, but we can be sure there are a million steps ahead of us. I get it. Happy Plague Doctor says, turn your phones on. Are you talking to me, man? My phones are on. Are you getting an echo or something? I sure hope not. Lightning Rod says, how you doing? Let's see. Lawrence Burney's in the house. Say what you want. Free speech, Hugh says. Don't silence the truth is a hostile takeover. We're kind of in an information war, and I know that these are talking points of other podcasters, and I listen to them. I do. I'm curious about what's going on. I want to know what's going on. I want to hear the rumors about what's going on. I want to, even if they're wrong, I want to hear from all sides. I don't know. All right, guys, we're gonna let me just open up these lines and see if anybody wants to call in, because this is stuff I want to talk about. I want to talk about this today. I do ask that you try to curb, obviously, we have code words for things like the cure. We all know what the cure is, right? Don't you know what the cure is? Got to go get the cure, right? Got to go do that. Otherwise, you won't be able to work, or you won't be able to sell, or you won't be able to do all of those weird things that the Bible talked about a long time ago. And I'm not sitting here pushing the Bible on anybody. Look, we got a phone call. Somebody must have known the number. Conflict Radio, you're on the air. How you doing?
Good. You sound like a cranky poopy pants tonight.
I am just not in the mood. I've sat here and I've been thinking about, should I go live? Or should I do a show or something? And I'm like, well, what am I going to talk about? I'm like, well, why can't I talk about what I'm thinking about? Why can't I talk about what's on my mind? And it's starting to really piss me off that I can't come on my own show and talk about things that I want to talk about because I'm scared about what somebody else might do to my outlets. And you know what? If they're gonna take me down, if they're gonna strike this video and I can't come on for a week, then I can't come on for a week. I mean, what am I gonna do? I'll tell all of you guys right now, if this channel ever disappears, just look for Conflict Radio on Rumble, because that's where we'll be. Or you can always find us on conflictradio.net. You'll always find where we're going to be there. All right. But I want to talk about the things that I'm concerned about tonight. And I really do believe that we are coming down to a showdown with China. What do you think?
With China, China's having a lot of problems of its own. I mean, there's going to be tension there. I mean, the thing is, if they were going to do something stupid like try to take Taiwan, they'd probably try to do it now.
Well, yeah. I mean, what's Brandon going to do? Brandon's not going to do anything.
No, and the American people don't have the stomach for another war. We just don't. We don't have another war in us right now.
Well, not only that, man, but have you thought about all of the shipping containers sitting off the coast of everywhere? Let me add this. Up there we go. Am I back, guys?
Damn.
All right. No, I got it. Did we lose him? No, I'm here. I'm here, guys.
I
Sorry,
thought it was me.
there's a there's a bit of a delay, so you guys are going to take a minute to actually hear me. I did hit the button, didn't I? I thought I did, but then I thought I didn't, and went on to the
Yes.
next thing.
Oh. Yay. Yay. Unmuted.
All right. So, what do you think, man? What's going on with the world?
Well,
You don't think
the
it's
shipping
China? You don't think we're going to have any problems with China?
Well, there's going to be problems. I mean, there's always going to be problems. We're the two superpowers right now.
I mean,
so there's always going to be.
Could you even say that we're a
tensions
superpower
there.
right now? I don't understand how we are a superpower right now. I just don't see how we are a superpower right now.
Well, we
We're
really
like
are.
a bunch of we're a bunch
the
of screaming babies trying to figure out, what's the right pronoun to call somebody or which bathroom that we're allowed to use.
we still
I mean,
got
that's
all
is
the
that
fucking
superpower
aircraft
status?
carriers. We got aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines, man.
Yeah.
We're very much the main world power. That's just, I was telling you about Twitter being a cesspool of negativity. Well, that's if that's what you're reading, man, that's all you're gonna hear.
Well, no,
Oh,
I hear what you're saying. I don't want you to think I'm on Twitter all the time. I'm just saying that if I go to Twitter, if I go to Twitter and I show actual Twitter, then they can't really take me down, right? I mean, aren't they all sort of in their own?
I don't know. I say wing it. I don't think I think we're all smart enough by now that we can dodge the censorship where we need to.
Well, look, I'm going to show this clip from YouTube here. I'll show this. Let me bring this over here so that people can see. Let me see.
And I think another thing you need to realize is China and the United States also have a very symbiotic relationship. We're both kind of counting on each other at this point. They make a lot of shit, but they need us to buy it at the same time. So it doesn't really benefit them to crush us.
Well, they need our land too, don't they? They need our land for food.
Well,
don't you think it's funny how they're segregating the people into different? I mean, they're putting us all into different categories now, aren't they?
Who's they?
I mean, the government. They're putting us into different categories. I mean, that way, we're the ones that don't take the cure. They're the bad people now, right? We're the bad people, right? Just like Germany did during World War II with the Jewish people, right?
Right. Yeah.
You make them the bad guy, and then slaughtering them's okay.
You see a lot of that. You see a lot of crazy people online, like that recent deal with Noam Chomsky. Oh, we're just going to have to isolate them, and if they starve to death, so be it. But what the fuck does that cocksucker know? I'm out here in the Sand Hills. We got all the guns, water, and cattle. I think it's Noam who's going to starve out before we do.
I mean, in all honesty, I mean, what's China going to do if their economy collapses? I mean, in all honesty, what are they going to do? I mean, is anybody over there going to be bothered by their fallen economy? I mean, they'll just continue living the way that they are in their homes with their rice and stuff that they're given by the government. I mean, that's all that really matters to those people. I mean, they're not going to. I mean, the people of China aren't going to feel any crunch at all. I mean, they'll just print more of their Chinese money for themselves. I mean, that's all that
happened. What do you think was going on in Hong Kong before this whole COVID thing started?
Well, that's probably what started the whole COVID thing was how here, hang on. I'm trying to screen share here. Let's see. I got to select my screen. Screen one. Wow. Okay. All right. So let me add this to the stream here. Oh, I got to figure out how to do it. I think I have that. Let me turn that off. Oh, there we go. That's pretty cool.
Death by machine gun and left us. He is unfollowing.
Do what now?
Oh, death by machine gun. Goodbye, death by machine gun. He's
Yeah,
unfollowing.
I mean, okay. I mean, whatever. I mean, if that's what you're here for, if you're here to talk about ghosts all the time or UFOs all the time, that's not what this show is. We talk about all kinds of different stuff. And you know what? Ghosts and UFOs and fallen angels and disclosure and all that stuff's really interesting, and we'll get to that. But this is what I want to talk about tonight. You know, I mean, if nobody digs it, that's fine. Maybe come back and grab another show. You know, that's all I got to say. But look at this. I don't know if you guys see this up on your screen now. You're going to be getting a. This is a missile. This is a missile system hidden in a. I don't know how to make that bigger.
Shipping container.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, I see what I did there. I got to make it bigger. See how they have all this stuff? And how many cargo ships we got sitting off our coast right now? So if they were to hit Taiwan and we did do something, you know, I mean, wouldn't this, I mean, look at this. How many of these ships are sitting off our coast to shoot at us?
I don't know. I imagine we have a destroyer in the area that has just as many torpedoes.
there are hundreds and hundreds of ships, man.
Well, thing is we got our Navy.
I mean, and they would still get their shots off. I mean, that's fine. Our Navy's sitting out there, but I mean, to shoot in, you know, a cargo ship. Okay, so we sink a cargo ship that just unloaded its whole payload. Yay for us, right? I mean, come on. You know, somebody needs to tell me what all these cargo ships are doing off of our coast, and how. Why would they make systems like this, and then we're just gonna ignore it and not worry about it? That's what I don't understand.
Well, I don't know a lot about the range and the type of payload these missiles are capable of, so it's hard saying. You know, and I would think that we would be able to detect something like that. If there were really cargo containers filled with missiles out there, you'd think we would be able to pick that up.
Well, we would
satellite.
We would really? I mean, it just looks like a cargo container.
On the outside.
Well, even if we did pick it up, do you think that they would tell us? Oh, well, hey, look at what we've got sitting out here on our coast.
I guarantee you they wouldn't be.
You don't think that you don't? Let's look at that oil spill in the Pacific Ocean there off the coast of California. They said, oh, a ship's anchor could have pulled the pipe, you know, across the ocean floor like a year and a half ago, and it just now started leaking. Really? Now, obviously, that was, you know, done recently, you know. And was
sabotage,
it? Yeah, was that done on purpose? Was there a ship out there actually dragging an anchor around trying to find that pipe? You know, and you know, it's got to make the oil look bad, right? Got to make oil look bad. Got to get, you know, got to get rid of oil. Got to go on with this Green New Deal, right?
Well, you got to understand too. There's also a shit ton of ships just sitting up there. I mean. One of them's bound to hit something.
Yeah, but it's not this guy's fault. He was on maternity leave for 2 months, right?
Right. Yeah, the old Pete Buttigieg thing. That, you know, to me that pisses me off more than anything. And from what I understand from the truckers and people involved that I've kind of been in contact with, is right now there's really strict there's a couple things. The first one is there's really strict regulations on what kind of trucks can get into California. They have to be less than 3 years old. Well, that just cuts out tons of owner-operators, independent operators. Second of all, you have the union that runs those docks, and they are just being dicks, straight up. Like, there's stories of guys that are able to get in there, and they'll wait 24 hours for their fucking load. You know, it's just these dock workers are total pieces of shit. So there's that, you know, and that's what you see a lot of these unions who don't want these mandates Well, that's all they're doing is using that as leverage to fatten their pockets, essentially. That's what they're doing here. They're causing a crisis so they can use it as leverage to fatten their wallets. That's a pretty simple explanation.
Yeah. So you think everything's fine? Everything's just going to be
no, not everything's fine. You know, where I work, fuck, we're waiting until June or July for an intake manifold for a relatively common car.
Well, where's it being shipped from?
Good question. You know, where's it coming from? Probably from China or somewhere else.
I hear that there are ports across the United States that are running smoothly with absolutely no problem at all, and it's the ones that are owned by China that are holding everything up. Unless you take into account that there was this emergency order signed by this presidential order that was signed by Trump, this emergency executive order that limited goods coming from countries who participated in a stolen election. Did you hear about that?
About that, I guess.
Yeah, there was an executive order signed. It was like on the 16th of January, actually.
Huh.
And Biden can't get rid of any executive orders signed by Trump unless he declares an end to the pandemic.
I don't know anything about that because he got rid of a lot of executive orders on his first day, if you remember that.
Yeah, but none of the ones that were signed after we went into a state of emergency. Remember when the United States declared a state of emergency because of the pandemic? None of the executive orders signed after that can be lifted until the state of emergency is officially over. Remember, the country of the United States is still in a state of emergency. We can still take over companies and make them produce things.
We've been in a state of emergency for decades.
Well, technically for just a couple years now. It'll be a couple years in what, February or March?
How do you think they authorized all these freaking wars without, congressional approval?
Well, I mean,
it's state of emergency.
That was, we're talking about deep state stuff that, you get what I'm saying? Like, I mean, of course, right? They're going to fight people who, why do you think we went into Libya? Isn't that why we went into Libya? They were going to the gold-backed coin.
Yeah. Yep. That's why we had to get rid of Gaddafi.
Yeah, because, you can't have real money out there, right? It's all got to be from central bankers.
Sure. Yep. There's that aspect to it. But I don't think this is about money anymore, man. This is about control.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at the government end of it, shipping and everything else be damned. I think that's just bureaucracy, just doing what bureaucracy does, is be pieces of shit.
Well,
but
let me ask you about these monkey experiments that just came out, where they were actually like programming the monkey's brain to try to create fear in the monkey. Did anybody see this? Did you see that?
Jones talked about this
that Fauci was doing?
Alex Jones talked about it 10 years ago.
Yeah, well.
I mean,
can't talk about him, right?
I mean, they've been doing this stuff for a long, long time. They've been doing evil experimentation on animals and probably humans too for a very, very long time. There's been a history of that.
Yeah.
I don't think it stopped. I don't
know, man. I think
everybody wants to think all that terrible stuff stopped, and I don't think it ever did.
I think everybody who listens to this channel right now, you need to stock up your house with food, and you need some kind of water filtration. Try to come up with a way, even if you're in an apartment. I'll be honest with you, I'm on the second floor of an apartment, and I've pretty much got. I'm ready to go. I'm stocked up here. Like, and I'm not kidding. I could probably go 6 months without having to go anywhere. I even have a rainwater catch system to where if I need to catch water, I can catch water that rains. And I'm also, I'm really close to a big freaking lake. So I can just walk down there and get, I've got my 5-gallon buckets and wagon and everything else I need. If I need to go down and get water from the lake, I can go down and get water from the lake. That's the only thing that I would need to do. So if my lake gets poisoned or something, then I'm in trouble. Otherwise, I'm good to go. I could probably make it a year without ever having to leave the apartment except for going down to the lake and getting water.
That'd suck. What do you think would ever cause that?
Man, are you not looking at the border? We've got 1.7 million people since January that have come across the border. And have you seen the pictures of these people coming across the border? They're all young men. Let's not forget all of the people that have been flown in here from Afghanistan. And I'll tell you right now, I would bet you that there's a lot of those Afghan refugees that are here in this country. I bet you they're scattered around Washington or Oregon, and they're training. They're in the woods. They're training those Antifa people on. You laugh, man. You laugh. You laugh. You don't think that's happening? You don't think they're getting us ready for a civil war? You don't think they're getting ready for a civil war here in this country?
Well, they will be prepared to lose. Well, that's what's going to happen.
That's where you worry about. I mean, I'll tell you what, ain't nobody going to come around my place. That's for sure.
I'd like to try and see him take the Sandhills in February. That'd be fun. Man.
All right. Well, let's open up the line for somebody else. Do you got anything you want to? I mean, what are you concerned about? I mean, you're kind of laughing it off like it's no big deal, but honestly, man, are you ready?
Am I ready? Yeah, man. For whatever. I mean, it's gonna happen. Whatever's gonna happen happens, man. I'm as ready as I'm gonna get. I'm out here in the Sandhills. Like I said, we got all the guns, cattle, and water we could ever need, so we can last quite a long time.
Yeah, where you are.
Yeah,
I hear you, but they're coming for the land. They need the land.
No, they ain't gonna get it without a fight.
Well,
there's a lot of heavily harmed people out there.
I agree with you, but you've already taken care of. You've already taken care of probably 70% of them with all these cures that they're giving out, right?
Yeah, my mom's got it. She's fine.
Well, there's a lot of people fine for now. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, that's one of the you can let paranoia destroy you, and you can sit in your apartment for a year and be nervous and shake and not, we still got to participate in community. We still got to get together with our friends. We still got to make connections. We can't live in fear all the time. We just got to do what we can. We got to get out there and make the wheels turn, man.
That's the key. I think if you're a patriot, I think what you need to be doing right now is getting involved in your local community. You need to be going to these school board meetings. You need to be getting involved with the election process. Whether you be a poll worker or anything else, you need to get involved locally, and you need to, because it comes from the local, it trickles up. It doesn't come down from government. Everything in this country revolves, or is supposed to revolve, around local up. It's from local up. So you need to get your butt down and do something local that's good for this country. You need to.
Well, it's good to do it on a very small. Have friends over and play board games or play cards, or we'll have a movie night or whatever. But make sure you're getting those people-to-people contacts, and go to a spaghetti feed or whatever, man. Get out into your community, man.
Yeah. Get to know your neighbors.
If you're so inclined, go to church.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make a lot of good connections there. You might have to shop for a good church, but you'll probably find one somewhere.
Yeah,
I mean, some churches can be pretty kooky. But to sit and
I've interviewed some of those. We've had Waco people on the show. sometimes church isn't a certain church probably isn't where you should be, right?
Yeah. Well, and don't follow people or preachers or anybody blindly. That's for sure.
Yeah, you have to listen to both sides of the argument. You really do.
Yeah. And the main thing with that is more, like I said, it's a social event. That's, what I think is more important out of it than, wrestling with God or whatever.
Yeah, it seems like we've got a lot of people talking in the chat today that normally don't talk. So welcome all you guys. I see Woolly Booger here, Rabbi Sandy, Real Life, Lightning Rod, Shiznick, Chad Dolan is here, David M, Benjamin Esquire. Man, this is a ton of Uncommon Belief 21, Carmine Janam G. God, I know I just Jan Jemmy, Carmine Jan Jemmy. I guess I totally destroyed that name probably. But yeah, I mean everybody in here talking is probably I wouldn't say everybody, but there's a good majority of people here that
yeah, I see a lot of new faces.
Yeah, that haven't spoke up before, and you guys are the ones I want to call. I want you guys to call in. Let me hear from you guys. All right, and Lightning Rod says the caller is awesome. Why don't you tell everybody who you are?
I'm awesome. My name is the Happy Plague Doctor in the chat.
Yeah, I knew that, but we had to tell everybody that you are the Happy Plague Doctor.
Newcomers, yeah.
Fast Wolford is...
I will pop off for now. I'm sure other people are wanting to jump in and put their 2 cents in and keep it going, man. So,
yeah.
Don't let the paranoia get you. Don't think I'm going to have to stay in my apartment for a year. Don't think that way.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that I'm good to go, and I think everybody else should be good to go. I was watching somebody today on the TV. There was some fire somewhere, and they were like, "Oh well, if we're cut off from the world, we got about a week's worth of supplies, so we're okay." And I'm thinking, what? You have a week's worth of supplies? What? You just go on your regular shopping trip? Really? You don't have like.
I'll tell you what, a week's worth is better than nothing.
And that's what a lot of people have. A lot of people don't have nothing.
Well, I remember when the whole thing started back in 2020. I knew a lot of waitresses that got laid off immediately and were hurting. And, I was buying them groceries and shit. So, it's like, stuff could shut down for a while. That was at the beginning where it was like, everybody was saying, make sure you have at least 2 weeks to a month's worth of food and water because this could get serious because we didn't really know what it was,
Yeah. All right, Happy. I'm gonna let you go and let some other people get in here. I'm kind of getting hit with some other calls, man. Let's.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm getting kind of gassy too. So.
All right, man. Have a good one, man. I love it when you call in. Thanks a lot.
Yep. Bye.
All right. So guys, if anybody wants to call in, the number's on the screen. It's 256-850-4513. You can also find me on Skype. Just go to Conflict Radio or search for Conflict Radio on Skype and you can add me. I'll see that you're adding me and you'll be able to call. I see you. Stock up on toilet paper. All right. Well, we got another caller. Hang on. Oh, welcome to Conflict Radio. You're on the air. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Canada, Ontario.
Canada, Ontario?
Yeah. Who do you think it is?
I think it's Will Carr.
Yeah, you're right.
How you doing, Will? Welcome back to...
I'm the only Canadian out there right now listening to you.
No, so... you're not the only Canadian that listens to me. That's not true.
That's good.
I know other Canadians that listen to the show. Look, guys, I want to let everybody know that we don't have a time frame tonight. This is open lines for you guys. I want to talk about crap that's on our mind and what we're doing.
Yeah.
If the phone calls dry up, if you guys got nothing else to say, you don't want to talk about anything else, that's cool. I'll end the show. But otherwise, we're going to keep going. All right? Because I've got a lot of things on my mind, and I want to be able to hear from you guys. What's the questions you guys have, or what do you guys think is going on? I mean, if you think that Biden is the best president out there, and yay, the bad tweeter is gone, and nobody's offended anymore, call in. I want to hear from you. I want to hear you argue your point to me. Do it. Don't just get mad and leave the channel and thumb down and, oh, well, I'm out of here later. I'm unsubscribing. Call in. Make your point. All right, Will. What's on your mind, man? What do you think's going on?
Well,
what is your...
You know what?
Let me ask you this.
I think you're on to something. You're on to something. And it just like a light bulb went in my head, right? So I'm in Canada. I don't deal with what American... I know about the American politics, and, I know about Biden and Trump and all that stuff. And you mentioned about there's a civil war going to be happening, right? And a light bulb popped in my head, because I do keep up on some social media, right? And I don't know if it's true or not, but isn't it true Biden's going around and trying to take people's gun rights away? He's trying to clean up the guns.
Well, they're working on little loopholes, like let's say, for instance, you're an ex-vet and you have PTSD, right? That's how you're getting your care and whatnot. You have PTSD. Well, because you have the mental condition PTSD, you won't be able to have a firearm.
Oh, so he's not going to people's houses and trying to get rid of the gun, be able to hold arms.
I tell you what, if that were to happen, I wouldn't be on the air right now, because I'd already been in a shootout. So that is not happening.
Has not happened.
They're not.
He said something, hasn't he?
Well, let me tell you this. They cannot go door to door taking guns until they actually weed out the people in the police force who won't do it, which is what I believe they're doing now with these mandates. Okay, because the people that would stand up for the Constitution and the American people, they're not going to be forced to take the cure. So they're going to be fired from their positions at the police department, right? And then they'll fill them with people who are already taking the cure, listening to the, that are all in on their agenda, right? They're the ones. So what they have to do first is filter out the police departments, right? And the military even. If they're going to go door to door taking people's guns, they're going to have the military involved. There's no way.
But you're saying these people are coming across the boats, and you were saying something about, and I'm like, is there a correlation there? Are they preparing for this? Are they preparing for a civil war because they want to do this?
Yeah, they want to take out the Patriot. They don't want the Patriots anymore. They want to get rid. And I have heard that they actually tried, and if Hillary had won, we would have been in a war with North Korea, right? China would then defend North Korea, and say they hit Alaska or Hawaii or something, and the United States surrenders. Let's just say that we get into a war and the United States surrenders. What happens when the United States surrenders to a war? Well, we no longer have a constitution, do we?
Nope.
So that's one way they can eliminate the Constitution, is to get us into a war and then surrender us. And then we surrender. We give up. Right. What happens then?
This military is spread everywhere, and it's dealing with the civil shit. And then China's going to move in. You were saying they could possibly move in with all those shipping containers, the boats and stuff like that. You don't know, right?
Yeah.
And it's but you can only speculate based off what's kind of going on around you.
Well, not only that, but how many Chinese military troops do we have in this country right now under the disguise of being a college student?
I don't know. I'm in Canada, so
there's over 200,000 Chinese college students in our country right now, and it is. Well, I guess you're in Canada. But in the United States, there's over 200. There's over 200,000 Chinese college students here from China that are college students right now. Do you think they're loyal to the college and the United States, or do you think they're loyal to the CCP?
Probably China, where they're from.
Hello.
Yeah,
people are saying like over 80% of the Chinese college students here are CCP special forces.
That's crazy. I heard something about that.
They're already here. They're here right now.
they're paying for these people to come across to other countries to learn and to examine the country and what they have to offer. Like their government, China's government, is sending these people out. It's almost like infiltrating different countries. They do it to Canada.
Yeah, real life says
they do it in the States.
Real life says shipping containers was offloaded in California with Chinese military uniforms and weapons, and that's true. I have heard this story. If anybody doubts that, I could probably Google it and bring it up right now. This is shit that's happening. This is happening. We are at war. This is what I believe. I believe we are at war right now, but it's not a kinetic war yet. It's not a live war. This is it's an information war. There are people that know that this war is going on, be it Brandon, right? He knows, but he's already paid off. Hunter Biden's selling $1 million paintings. I was reading an article today that Hunter Biden's paintings are worth more than Picasso. Get that. Hunter Biden's paintings are selling so good right now.
There's something shady going on there. Like, that's mafia stuff, right? Like,
yeah, where is that money really coming from, and where is that money going? But we can't talk about it, right? If you talk about it, you're censored. Let's not bring up the laptop. It's all Russian misinformation, even though it just came out like a couple weeks ago that this Hunter Biden laptop and all the emails associated with it are real. But we can't talk about that. If we talk about that, they'll take it down. That's it.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's crazy. I just look back as being an outsider looking into the States, and sorry to say, but you guys have been like, it's always been, I've always said with the UFO and with anything, UFOs or anything military, anything like that, you're just getting a lot of action over there. And I'm just like, oh man, I'm lucky I'm not American right now. It's just, you guys are going through so much right now. So much. And there's something going to happen.
And you know what? Too. This isn't even us. I can't even talk about what's going on in Australia, because let me tell you something. I don't see Paul, and he'll have to forgive me. I'm not gonna say what his handle is, because people might be listening to this that don't need to know. But he's not here tonight. And let me tell you something. What's going on in Australia is exactly what would be going on here right now if we didn't have our guns. Australia, you guys screwed up. You let them take all of your weapons. None of you have guns anymore because of that stupid dude that ran through that mosque or whatever and live streamed the whole thing. All right, you guys fell for it. You gave up your weapons. Now look, that's what you got. And you want to tell me what's going on in Australia? I've been listening to people in Australia say that, oh, Australia is not communist. Australia is not anti-freedom. Well, you want to know something? Australia 2 years ago maybe wasn't. But Australia in the past 2 years, and I'm saying 2 years, I'm talking since the pandemic. So when I say 2 years, we're talking since like February, March of this year. So like what, a year and 8 months, 10 months, or 9 months, whatever it is.
Whatever.
All right. You guys are a hell of a lot closer to communism now than you were 2 years ago, right? I mean, we can't ignore that. That's what they want. That's what they want to do everywhere. And Canada is worse.
We're going through so much shit.
You guys,
oh my God,
what really? You guys just pushed up your election, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder why. Right, you got to do the election before COVID goes away. That way they can have all the mail-in ballots, because mail-in ballots equals cheating.
Do you? I don't know if you guys have it yet in the States, because I'm not too much into the news. I don't believe in the news all the time because they do fabricate what's really out there, and they only push out certain things, right? Passports. Do you have to deal with passports besides going to a different country?
You mean like on a regular basis?
The vaccine passport.
No, we do. Well,
what?
Apparently you do if you want to go to a Whataburger in California. It depends on the.
So they are putting it in there.
It depends on the state.
Canada, they're made, like, there's places that they will not accept you unless you show a vaccine passport.
Yeah, there are definitely states in this country that I'm hearing that New York City, California, I guess I'm saying New York City. I don't really know. That's why I want you guys to call in. I mean, I hear these things on the news that I listen to, and I'll go ahead and say it. I watch every single And We Know video. I watch almost every X-22 report. I watch David Nino Rodriguez in the morning when he does a show. I listen to We the People News, which is a little crazy, but my wife and I like to say that's a little crazy. But when they do have good information, it's good information, and that's We the People News on Rumble. I don't buy it. There's a lot of alternative news sites out there that say, like, so and so has been arrested. They're down at Gitmo, and this person was executed. This person is executed. They're all wearing. These people are wearing masks now, and you have to admit there are some pictures that make it look like these people are wearing masks. I've seen some pictures of Joe Biden where, like, and you could see, I mean, it's obviously, you can actually go to the video and see it where it looks like the mask is starting to fall off their face. You know what I mean? And it's an actual show. But I tend to try to not to believe too much of that stuff. I mean, that's getting a little crazy, I think. But
yeah, that's what's that? The Nightingale, or no? Oh my God, I'm saying it wrong. It's almost like the I'm missing that word. But it's like when we see the face on Mars, but it's not really a face on Mars. It's something else.
Yeah.
What's that word called? But anyway, that's kind of the same thing. My cousin is into that stuff, and he watches these Fox videos.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So if you're looking for something,
like,
if you're looking for something, you'll find it. Yeah.
You're like, I don't know,
yeah.
like,
Well, you remember
crazy world, man.
Remember those paintings that they had? What was it? The early '90s or late '80s? They had all those pictures where you stare at them. They were like a bunch of squiggly lines, and if you stare at them long enough and focus and get your eyes to change a little bit, you can actually see like the hidden thing inside the painting. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I've done them.
It's kind of the same thing, right? If you look at this reality and kind of adjust your eyes a little bit, maybe you could see what's really going on. I mean, I get it. Our eyes are seeing what they want you to see, but that image is still there.
It's like that old movie. I don't know I can't remember when it came out, but Roddy Piper played it, and he wears the sunglasses.
Yeah, They Live.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Right, I remember
Prairie Fire says China has no real capability against subs. I mean, our subs can be out there all day long, but I mean, the whole point is that they're kind of brainwashing our kids, our people, don't you think? With all this stuff that's going on with the school system and I mean everything else. I mean, I've been listening to this dude called Bernie on Truth and Art TV. And he swears up and down that a lot of these people, these young kids, are going nuts over climate change, right? It's like a real passion for them, like this Greta person, okay? Whatever this kid is,
Yeah.
That we're going to be seeing climate terrorism in the future. That's something that we're actually going to be looking at. People are going to be blowing themselves up to take out like an oil farm or something. You know what I mean? Because they actually believe that climate change is a threat and that they are saving the world by doing this.
Right. There's a word for that, isn't there? It's not crazy, but it's like another one. It's kamikaze or something. I don't know. That's like, it is something that they do that, and they do it in other religions in the Middle East, right? People sacrifice themselves where they think it's a good cause because they've been brainwashed through their, somebody pushed their belief system on them, saying, Americans are bad or, Canadians are bad or whatever. And they grow up like this, and they bring them And they strap bombs to themselves and they just go off and off themselves, thinking that if I do this, then I'm saving the world, or I'm saving whatever has been brainwashed, right? Like, it happens.
Yeah.
Really
Let's see
does.
here. Lightning Rod says we definitely got to stop burning anything at the rate of 2,100 million barrels a day. No question about it. And I agree. That's why we need to bring Tesla energy back into this, and we need to be looking at alternatives that actually work. That get us off of. You see that the problem is that all of these companies that sell energy, they're making so much money off of the oil that they don't want to research anything good. I've heard of carburetors being made in the 80s that would help your car run like 300 gallons, or 300 miles a gallon on gasoline, that the oil companies went and they bought all this stuff up and then just hid it on a shelf somewhere. Because hello, we've got anybody who thinks we don't own that stupid Tic Tac thing that's flying around on the videos is out of their mind. That is an engineered craft from Earth. That is not.
I think that's from Roswell. I think that's the metal they found from Roswell.
It is not a flying saucer.
No, it's the Roswell crash material that they use. That's how they got it.
We have the technology to get away from burning all of that stuff. They're just not going to release it because, first off, there's no money in it. All right? If you could drive 500 miles on a gallon of gas, what good is that to them, right? When gas is, even if it's $10 a gallon, okay, so I'm spending $10 to drive 600 miles. Big deal. Right?
Yeah,
but they're not making the money.
I feel the same way, right? When it comes to that stuff, it's the oil companies that are bashing it was a thing. It was the coal plants, like the coal power plants, were bashing the nuclear power plants, and they're trying to push this. Remember when they were trying to push the nuclear thing that was bad and this and that? These were the people were funding, these coal companies were funding these things out there to push away nuclear power plants, because that means coal power plants would be obsolete, right? And so the oil companies are probably doing the same thing with certain things, right? Like you said, certain inventions that are made, they're going to suppress it because, they don't want to lose money. They want to have the money. They want the power. Right, suppress whatever can, what they can, right?
Yeah.
For sure. Because I would do it, right? As a business person, if I had billions and billions and billions of dollars, and I got a competition coming up, and I realize, oh my, it's going to really affect me, and I won't have billions, I'll only have millions. Yeah, for sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Right. Put yourself in their shoes. Would you do it to save your business so you can still make billions? For sure. Right. You can say no right now, but do you have billions and billions of dollars? No, because you change, right? People with lots of money want to keep getting more money, right? It's just, it never ends. That's the problem. It's the greed.
Yeah, well, when they can just print money for themselves, that's nice too, isn't it? Let's, Will, I'm going to move on to other callers, man. Thanks a lot for calling in.
Yeah, thank you for letting me call.
Yeah, you got it, man. Talk to you later.
All right. Ciao.
All right, guys, the line is open. If anybody else wants to give a holler here, I'm trying to. I guess I'll limit you guys to 20 minutes a call, I suppose. But let's. Nice coming from a rabbi. All right, so you guys are in the chat arguing about something. Here's Vash. Vash, this is Conflict Radio, man. You're on the air. How you doing?
Hey, I'm not too bad, Michael. How are you taking care of yourself today, buddy?
I'm pretty good, man. I'm pretty good. I'm glad you just turned up. I was just reaching for my board there to try to get you a little louder, but you sound good now.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, no, first time I'm calling you from the headset I've got. So hopefully it's all sounding good. So,
It sounds great.
Interesting show.
It sounds
I'm
great,
liking
man.
it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just a little peeved today, and I apologize. I'm taking it out on everybody, and I don't think I'm taking it out on everybody, but I'm so sick and tired of not being able to talk about the things that I want to talk about, and this is something that I want to talk about, so I'm going to talk about it today.
I think talking about it is good. Just finding a way to do it, that's the trick.
Right? You gotta weasel
Somehow.
around. A crack shot says calling from Australia ? Why don't you tell everybody where you are?
I'm in Australia. I'm in Melbourne. So basically, if you've seen anything about Australia in the news, pretty much that's where everything is happening at the moment. The most locked down city currently to date in the world because of our premier. So not a mayor, sort of like I don't know how you define it in terms of US and things like that. So
let me ask you this, man. And I'm going to be honest with you, because you and I have talked a lot on this show, but I've never been able to actually ask you questions. Right?
Ask away.
So let me ask you some real questions that I have to an Australian. Do you think that the things in Australia would be going on right now had they not taken your weapons?
It's an interesting question because when that happened, I was still in primary school. So that was quite a long time ago. And I think it all happened for the best intentions and reasons, but it's one of those things.
Do you honestly feel that way?
Well, at the time, I suppose I wouldn't have known any better. And this is like, we're talking pre-internet kind of days. So communication was significantly different. Everything was from the media. And that's essentially where people got a lot of their information from. But I also think it's different now completely in terms of obviously how people communicate, but the values and what actually happens and goes on behind having access to firearms. And I think it also partly comes down to history. I was talking to a friend of mine and he makes a really good point, which is the countries that do have access to it, like the US, you've had to go through some sort of trials and tribulations. You know, you've got various civil wars or dictatorships, and that's something that this country has never really gone through from a multi-generational point of view. So I suppose it's almost like you don't know what you got till it's gone. And I kind of feel like that's as a whole in terms of the freedoms that people have here and they enjoy. Like the people that I've spoken to, it's been a mixed bag, but it varies where most people just want to be able to do stuff again. And their current consensus is, well, if I comply, we'll be able to do stuff again. Well, I'll have my freedoms back. I'll be able to go shopping.
Freedom is not conditional.
See a friend.
Freedom has never been conditional. It never said in any of our constitutions that freedom was conditional.
True. And you can't comply your way out of tyranny. But I almost feel like this is one of those things that there is people talking about it. It's not really talked about much. It's as a whole. But then again, we haven't really been out and about and talking with people as in general. It's just for the past 2 and a bit months, I think, while the current lockdown's been on, everyone's just been going to the supermarket. And that's really been the extent of most people's interactions, if at all. And I think that has a massive effect on people where you're creating an environment where if you just comply, you'll get back what we took away. And it creates an incentive in some respect as well. So to come full circle to your original question, I think it would make the government think twice about maybe implementing certain laws. But I think more or less it's got to do with history of the country and the people and the lack of fighting for your rights because you've never really had them taken away.
All right, let me ask you this. I've heard rumors of things that the politicians in Australia pretty much sold your country out to China.
Yeah. Well,
That you guys, the politicians there are doing everything China is telling you to do.
they're on a fine line, I would say, but definitely China has had a massive, massive impact in this country, whether it be spoken or unspoken about. If we just look at, for example, real estate, we've had lots of foreign investors, lots, and that's helped pump our market up. And because what will happen is you'll go to an auction, and you'll have a foreign investor. I think it's also cultural for China as well. Like, we must win, or you must win at any cost. So if you've got one person bidding and they're like, yeah, keep going, and they just don't care. But what you'll find is there's a lot of ghost houses, and not the kind that you might want to actually go see. It's just basically people or foreign investors that have bought houses and they don't live in them. They just let the asset appreciate in value. And that also creates shortages. So families can't buy houses. So then that drives up price and demand. And there's a whole heap of stuff going on with housing. But I think China's definitely had an impact here. And the Premier, again, here just recently, I'd say within the last couple of months, they've talked about how he's been involved, what's known as the Belt and Road Project with China, and wanting to favourably discuss or favourably give China projects here in Australia. Now, as far as I understand, that's now stopped and the Belt and Road Initiative is not happening here. I could be wrong, but that's definitely something that cropped up. But how much discussion there was about it, that again, it's really depends who you speak with and depends who you know. So I'm sure that sort of goes hand in hand with people around your circle as well, with certain topics, like you were speaking earlier about having some sort of preparation for having emergency supplies. And I'm sure some people you'll speak to, that sounds like a perfectly rational thing to do, whereas others will just completely look at you like, what's wrong with you? We're perfectly fine. You know, there is nothing that you need to worry about and all this. But I find those people are also the same ones that don't take an interest in what's happening. And because nowadays I feel like trying to find information is actually hard as opposed to easy, in that it's kind of hidden. Like, even just by searching certain things through Google or whatever search engine you like to use, you just pretty much get what you're being fed. And yeah, it's fascinating because even on, we talk about anything realistically that has any kind of big government or social implications. And it's not easy to find the information. It's usually hidden away, or there's maybe one or two news articles and you have to specifically search for certain terms. So, yeah.
So what are you guys still standing up over there? Are you guys still protesting a lot? Or is it kind of gone away now?
If they are, there's not really much coverage at all. There had reached a point where the police here during the heart of the protests, when it was really happening, ended up trying to prevent the press from reporting it by not allowing their helicopters to be flying over protests to be able to gain footage. But the press actually overturned that and they could continue. I would say, you don't really hear or see much. It's quite minimal. And we have a very large jab percentage happening at the moment. I believe over 90s for the first one and coming close to 80 for the second.
Well, and that's just the numbers that they're giving you.
Well, yeah, and that's the other side of it too. But it's you can only work with what information you got, I guess. And I think that ties into.
Well, they're never going to. I mean, just as they're not telling you the amount of people that are actually out in the streets protesting, they're not going to tell you the actual vaccination numbers.
I would,
because they want the people that aren't taking the cure to feel like, oh, they're only 5%.
Yeah,
when they're really
I
like
can
30 or
understand
35.
I can understand that completely. I guess I'm looking at it more from a circumstance of linking to who's protesting and who's not, or how it's seen and how it's not, and then looking at the correlation between the percentage of overall jabbage, shall we say.
Yeah.
And they sort of, I don't know, they kind of go a little hand in hand, because you're not seeing a big outcry of anything really. And I think that's partly because of, like I said, the jab percentage potentially. But they're looking here to, start opening things up and requiring people to get a passport or a jab passport potentially for certain types of activities and places and, a lot of the stuff. And I can understand from a, say, optics point of view in terms of getting people to be feeling like they're safe, but at the same time, it's completely creating a two-tier system. And I don't know if you're aware, like the New Zealand, I think it's president or just recently came out and said, yeah, I'm creating a two-tier system of citizens. And it's just like, how can you not see this as being a bad thing? So,
yeah, well,
it's
I would point you guys in Australia who are against this to maybe go to YouTube and watch some of the old uprising videos from the Ukraine, because those people had no weapons at all and were able to overthrow their government using different kind of tactics that unarmed people can use. So I would suggest maybe going over to those old Ukraine uprising videos and watching and studying what those people did to overthrow the government when the government had all of the weapons and the people had none. So that might be a good idea.
Of course, you're just advocating to review history. That's exactly what you're advocating for.
Yeah,
to educate yourself.
Just go and educate yourself on how to. If you are disarmed, go look at how disarmed people overthrew their countries, and Ukraine is one of the first ones that come to mind. Even though that the deep state Hillary people paid for that, it's still interesting to learn the tactics, And when they start shooting at you, burning tires is a good idea.
They don't. I don't think that's what they would like to do. I think it's
not
mostly
yet,
by coercion,
because you haven't stepped it up yet. You guys need to step up.
Well, yeah, but in this kind of circumstance of what's happening at the moment, it's all basically, you don't have to do X, Y, or Z, but you can't do A, B, and C unless you've done what we've asked you to do. And so,
yeah, they're slowly trying to starve you out.
Yeah, it's slow and methodical, and also in a way designed so you don't notice it as much, or you don't care about it as much. So if you took at it from a perspective of, hey, you've taken 3 steps, well, 3 steps isn't that bad, but if you actually turn around and see where you've come from, you're like, okay, actually, well, that's a bit more of a dramatic change, and people easily adapt to that. I think it's definitely a slow process, and to say
so what's next? What's the next step for you guys? What are they going to do to you now?
Well,
are they building camps over there for you guys that eventually get starved out?
Yeah, that's
you'll have to go to the camp now, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll give it a fun name. And
What the hell are you waiting for, man? Do you not? I mean, do people not see what's going on?
I see it, but even, you know what? Trying to have the conversation with people is ridiculous. Like, that is the most interesting part, because it's either you can have the discussion with someone that's open-minded enough, or you just get lumped instantly into a particular demographic. And as soon as you're in that demographic, it's hard to wipe off any kind of affiliation. So the most common, I'm trying to dance, anti-cure. That's a good, there we go. I can use that. If you're anti-cure, you're instant. As soon as someone deems you to be in that particular demographic, you can't talk about even reasonable or rational concerns. And
I mean, they're already doing that. They're already doing that here in the United States. And I don't mean to cut you off, but they're already doing that here as well. If you're anti-cure in the United States, they're saying now that you're a domestic terrorist.
Well, here's a fun fact for you. So Webster's have actually changed what that definition is. So if you are actually against the mandate of a cure, you're technically an anti-curist. Did you know that?
Well,
so it's a little.
Which would make you what?
Well, even if you have the cure,
right?
But you still don't agree with it, and you don't agree with the mandates, it's still you technically an anti-curist.
Well, yeah, because eventually you're going to need your booster to keep your thing up to date, and if you don't get your booster, it's like you never got any of it. You're just right in the same boat with everybody else.
Pretty much, you it's a on-off switch, so you there's no leeway, despite whether if you've had it naturally or you've gone to the doctor and had your procedure. It just doesn't matter. There's no gray area of just discussion.
Lightning Rod, right? Let me interrupt you for a second. Lightning Rod says, would it be okay if your child's new sex partner had an easily transmitted disease, it didn't tell you, and didn't protect and had sex? Well, first off, my kid isn't just going to go run out and have sex with anybody. And how would that affect me at all, Lightning Rod? That doesn't affect me at all. So, I mean, if my kid is old enough to make their own decisions, then my kid is old enough to make their own decisions. So that has nothing to do with,
Sorry, I was going to say, I think in New York, actually, even if you do have any kind of illnesses or diseases, that by law, you don't actually have to tell the person you're sleeping with.
Well, either way, I mean, that doesn't really, I mean, it's, it's kind of like the whole my body, my choice thing with abortion. And I don't think that's such a great idea. I think we should probably stop doing that, especially after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, and I think that's the crux. Where's the time?
Yeah,
because everyone disagrees on different things or agrees on different time sets, and that's like, I understand this, but how long's a piece of string?
Yeah, right. I don't know, man. This whole thing's so stupid. I mean these stupid masks, they make everybody wear these masks that don't work. You know what? I went to let me tell you this. This is a funny story.
Mm-hmm.
I went to court on Monday. I had jury duty. And you want to know, mm-hmm. I had my wife work over the weekend. She crocheted me a mask. I'm not lying, because I had to wear a mask in the courtroom. I was like, baby, I was like, she used to crochet these little headbands, and I took all these headbands, and I was like, just crochet these together, and I'll tie it to the back of my head, and I'll wear it as a mask. And she's like, oh my God, they're gonna throw you out. They're gonna tell you it doesn't work. I'm like, okay, then I'll tell them to give me one that actually works. Like, show me the science that this works less than the one that you're making me wear. I sat there all day in that crocheted mask, and you want to know how many people said a word to me?
I'll tell you, 0.
It's 0, exactly. 0 people said a word to me about it, and it was a freaking crochet mask, man.
That's because as long as you're seen to be part of the group think, you're okay, even though it may not make any bloody sense. You know,
you
it's
guys get a
crazy.
kick out of that. Man, what a
Do you know,
what a joke this whole thing is.
I think in terms of everything else though that's going on around it, that is, especially from an economical point of view, that's really what the duck, you know, and like, I'm not sure if you've heard about the latest sort of aspects of on your side of things where the current people in power, I'm avoiding keywords here.
Thank you,
Brandon.
That.
Yes, let's just say Brandon. Their current team, Brandon, is currently wanting to do a tax on potential stock or assets as they've gone up. So here's an easy example for you. Let's just say you own one share of any one stock, and and then basically what will happen is you will have a look at that particular asset. Let's just say it's got $150, and what happens is they want to tax you on the $50 that the asset has gone up, even if you haven't actually sold that asset. So it's like, so you want me to sell something that I haven't sold yet so I can give you money, but then when I sell it, I also have to give you money again because I've sold and made money. Do you know about this?
Yeah. I mean,
It's just,
what are you going to do,
how does that make
right?
sense?
It doesn't.
How does that make
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. That's the whole point of this whole show today. All right, Vash, you got your 20 minutes, man. I'm going to let you go. Somebody's been blowing me up from 956 number, so I'm going to get on to them.
Do it, man. Thanks very much for having me.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right. You too. See ya.
All right, 956. Try now. Algorithms. Let's see here. Lightning Rod's been blowing up in the chat. Call in, man. Talk to me. The number is 256-850-4513, or you can find me on Skype. Just look for Conflict Radio. All right, so what are we talking about today? We're talking about all kinds of stuff here. Lightning Rod says, don't do it. Don't do what? Thanks for having me on air again, Bash. Of course, always a pleasure. Here we go. Conflict Radio, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Okay, hang on, bud. I'm in Texas. Let me get deep South Texas, 12 minutes from the border.
All right, mute your radio. Hang on. You gotta mute the show first.
Yeah, hell, I gotta get 12 minutes from the border.
All right,
okay.
Mute your radio.
Shit, I'm having.
Hang on. You gotta mute the show first.
Okay, here, I just turned this off.
Yeah, mute. Yeah, hit the mute button or.
Okay, here we go. Let's talk, bud.
All right, man.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I haven't heard all your call-in, folks. I've heard pieces and parts while I've did other things, but it's basically the milk toast. I want to get along. I don't really want to get involved. I don't want to be actually recognized as I have an opinion on folks destroying the world. I just want to somehow blend in. These are the same folks that loaded other people up on railroad cars. You're exactly right, brother.
Yep, I'm doing my job. They were doing their job, right?
Yeah, just getting. I did, that was what my job was. I didn't want to offend anybody. I could have. They could have held my paycheck for 2 weeks. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. And guy calls from Canada, and he's like, "Well, like he's better off because he's in Canada." He obviously has no clue what's happening in Canada. Guy calls from Australia, and he's like, "It ain't really, it's okay, And you're crazy. You're within seconds. You're within seconds of being a serf slave for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, what's next? They're going to build you camps. They got camps for the people.
Yeah. And the other guy, let's just all get along and let's go play dominoes together. Now, we're past that. The whole world's past that. If folks haven't caught on to this now, in fact, I don't feel nearly this. I don't feel this empowered until I see how disempowered, unaffected the milquetoast citizenry is. Totally uninformed. Oh, but you gotta it's hard to do that. Hell, just get on Telegram. You can get on any channel you want. You can find 100,000 different government documents that will absolutely tell you the truth. Their own documents. It's disgusting. No, they ain't going to come in and turn it on, set you down and tell it to you on CNN, ABC, CBS. But if you can't get off your rear and get motivated enough to search, just walk on off the cliff, Mr. Sheep. That's where we're at, bud. That's where we're at. On every topic, everything, from the jab to what's going on with the infiltration in our country, what's been happening for decades and decades. Yes, brother. The illegal immigration is all over the place. 1.7 million? No, really, in reality, it's about 4 to 5 million this
But the
year.
Brandon administration just announced that they're opening the borders to travelers as long as they've been vaccinated.
Oh, well, gee, boy, now we're going to be really strict. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I can drive 12 minutes down the road, and you literally 24/7 can see people walking across there. Absolutely no vaccination. There's nothing like that. They walk across there, and they don't run to try to get away from immigration. Hell, they flag them down. Hey, pick me up. Take me over there so I can get registered. Then you fly me out to Philly tomorrow. It's happening. It's been going on. It's going to continue to go on. Folks, if you think that you can just ride this one out and kind of blend in, you're going to find out that you went all the way to the bottom on the sunken ship, and it ain't going to come back up unless enough guys.
Yep, the first thing they're doing is weeding out our first responders.
Yeah.
And then what's next?
Exactly.
Because it's the ones that they have in there, the ones that comply. They'll be the ones lining us up, putting us on the train cars to go to the camp.
Absolutely.
Which I see here in the chat.
Ever.
420 Patrick says the camps are better than being homeless.
Oh yeah, ain't that something? Yeah. No, I mean I get it. It's funny, but then again, it really isn't because of the urgency of the hour. That's really the point. I mean, and I have a sense of humor just like anybody else, and I cut the jokes, etc. But in reality, dude, we're on fire. So if you look at your house, it's on fire, and we're just trying to tell you, hey man, you really ought to consider this homeowner's insurance. And you're like, oh no, I think it'll be okay. I don't want to stand out. You're like, okay. Yeah, people got to stand up. The time is now. And yes, across, especially Australia, if you haven't figured out that you're almost Mr. Surf by now, you're not going to figure it out. But in all actuality, my guess is that if it's like that for you, you're okay being a slave just as you are not being a slave. So it really doesn't emotionally affect you. I don't get it.
Yeah, like it's totally cool, right? Like as long as they give me a place to stay and a TV and internet, so I can play my phone games and watch America's Idol or whatever other stupid show that they're putting on for us today.
Exactly. Or you know what? I may be a slave, but I'm a house slave. I'm not a field slave. See there? I really made it. Golly, guys. If folks, look, it starts with some very simple stuff. They continuously change everything. You can look at any of the government documents. They change stuff. They create their own science. Herd immunity would save us all until they decided to change it on their webpage. And now it's fully vaccinated. It's what saves you. How did y'all come? I mean, what proves that? Well, we see there, we typed it in. That means that there it is. That's our science. Oh my God, give me a break. You know, I saw that where they changed their website. You say herd immunity would basically, in essence, that's how you prevent the whole world from dying from whatever. Okay, any kind of virus. About 2 or 3 months ago, they changed it to being fully vaccinated instead of herd immunity.
Well, yeah,
And
yeah,
thought,
they changed the definitions to, well, because they're saying that this isn't even a I guess I'm going to say it. This isn't even a vaccine that they're wanting everybody to take.
Well, no,
They're just saying it is, because if you say it's a vaccine, then they're not liable for anything that has gone wrong, because that's how they get out of the liability.
Exactly. I mean, come on, you got to be kidding. The creator of the MR technology or whatever it is, Dr. Malone, he's telling you.
Yeah.
You got to be nuts to be taking this now. And you know, I don't know. I guess he was a Nobel Prize nominee, but now he's just a quack. Folks, if you don't wake up, if you don't make a little effort to find some things out, they're not only going to walk you off the cliff. Apparently, some of you guys are going to race to see who gets there first.
Well,
you could talk about it forever. Any friggin' topic there is. I'm just amazed at the lack. The lack of knowledge is one, because it's not going to be fed to you. You got to do a little bit of work, but it ain't that difficult. And two, the more or less, I'm okay with it. They ain't saying that. But in reality, the responses are like, I don't feel uncomfortable enough yet. Maybe if I feel more uncomfortable. And I don't know when that point comes, but there'll become that critical mass period when various things, if things continue down this road, you can't turn it back. It's too late. So that's my concern. Every issue that you want to think of economically, inflation, you want to think of the jab, you want to think of our own, our Second Amendment, our First Amendment, any of these particular things, every one of them are falling under the same category. Yes, folks, people that told you things for the last 10, 20, 30 years that got lambasted as conspiracy theorists, they're not the nuts. They actually did a little research. They kind of looked at things, and some of them did, you know what? Gee, I know, well, technology's changing. It's just here in the 60s.
What do you think about my theory of the shipping containers?
Anything is possible. Anything's absolutely possible. But let's talk about the supply chain shortage, okay? Well, what is that? That's to make us adhere, I think. That's part of it. I mean, they could break that up immediately. Part of the deal, there's multiple facets to it. One of them, as far as the licensing and being able to drive any truck that you need to get the stuff out there. That's part of it. Another part of it, which is not crazy, but part of the argument is, oh, gee, do you think that the EO that President Trump put in place, basically having to do with people forfeiting assets, domestic or foreign, if they're involved in foreign elections, could that have any meaning in it?
Yeah,
I don't know, but it's not crazy to ask.
No, it's not. And the fact that we can't even talk about it ought to raise somebody's eyebrows up a little bit.
On every topic, if you can't figure out that you can't, the fact that you are poo-pooed or shoved to the side or just totally censored because you do talk about various subjects. The joke's not on those folks. The joke's on the people who are backing that kind of thought. You have to realize it's time for people to get curious about how this world operates. It's time to get curious about how your local government, your school board, and the things outside of your kitchen and your living room and off that TV, how they actually operate. What's going on?
Yeah. And we can't even talk about how, that they say, oh, it's FDA approved. It's not FDA approved.
It's not FDA approved. I can't. It's just mind blowing.
And it just came out today.
Mind blowing.
It just came out today that they're gonna nail the kids from 5 to 11.
Ain't that something? Ain't that something? I mean, stop and think for a minute. Let's say just the actual odds of a kid having a major issue with
it's like it's 0.02%. It's 0.02%.
I'd be a hell of a lot more worried about my kid getting in some other kind of infection or stepping outside down in South Texas and getting bit by a snake, by a rattlesnake. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Now, let's get that kid, because I want to be a good person and I don't want to look bad and I want people to think that, I don't go with the flow here. So let me get little Tommy all vaxxed up, all jabbed up. Dude, what's going to happen to little Tommy? Bless his heart. 5 years down the road, he's got heart problems. 10 years down the road, he's gone.
Yeah, well,
gee, mom and dad did him a real service.
And don't forget, this is one of those things that they're gonna have to get like every 6 months, and it's gonna get to the point. It's gonna get to the point where if you miss that one, if you miss the one that you're supposed to get in 6 months, then your whole immune system's gonna shut down. Your whole entire immune system's gonna shut down, and you're not gonna be able to do anything.
There you go. There you go.
You're basically trading your immune system for their protection.
It's called drug addiction. They did the same thing to the inner cities with the crack deal. This is just done on another emotional trigger. Yeah. One of them was done on to trigger you emotionally for that endorphin hit to feel good. This one is triggered so that I won't be afraid. You know what? I'm going to tell you something that's really interesting. Whenever Obama left, right before he left, did anyone look and see all the billions and billions of dollars that he had the government give out to all various I would call them entities, organizations, NGOs, etc., for the study of brain research? Well, they want to control how you think, when you think, and have you be good. Okay,
well, then that brings us into a technocracy and transhumanism, which we haven't even gotten to that yet, and that's coming too, right? Like they want to be able to they want to be able to upload their entire mind into a clone of themselves, like say George Soros. Before he dies, he wants to be able to upload his entire brain into another younger version of himself. And don't think he's not out there trying to do that. These people are sick, man.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And it's not new. It's just new to us that there's a level of evil that we've known, that we've read about. We've opened the good book, but we never really thought that was something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And let me get on that end a little bit. So let me just tear everybody a little bit. So the major Christian community, they're part of that. Like, let's just get along and You know, that's part of being a good Christian and whatnot. Well, look, those are the same people in general that are blown away when you say, you know, I read this story about this 178-pound guy who walked on water and walked through a wall. Oh, now that's that supernatural stuff. Yeah, that's part of what you're supposed to be believing. Oh. Well, now, see, that's something different. That's what Christ. Look, there's a supernatural realm to all existence. And don't be fooled to think that what we're going through, that supernatural realm is not a big part of it. It doesn't matter if you believe certain things, they do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hear you. All right, man.
But,
you got your 20.
okay. All right. Got you.
I'm going to let you go, man. Thanks for calling in. All right, guys. That was Texas. So it seems like I've struck a nerve. I'm not the only one out there that's a little TO'd, or I guess PO'd about everything that's going on right now. I see Blue Chicken has made it to the room. Finally, we got a moderator. I think I saw Sapphire Elf here just pop in just a little while ago. Sapphire Elf was in the house. Guys, well, I'm going to, I mean, unless somebody wants to call, I'll give it like a couple minutes and see if anybody else wants to call in. But I'm going to wrap it up for today. I mean, I would recommend that everybody, you need to get involved locally with things that are going on in your community. And you also need to get out there and start networking with your neighbors and learn who your neighbors are, because it's going to be, I think we're eventually going to get to a point where we have no internet, we have no electricity, and it's going to be on a local basis. Your community is what's going to be, your community is what you're going to be, dealing with. It's not going to be, I guess what I'm saying is that you need to get ready for the worst. And if the worst doesn't happen, well, then that's okay. You have you've got supplies. You're ready to go. If you drop dead in a car wreck or whatever, then maybe your supplies will go to your family. I mean, it doesn't hurt to be ready for anything, because I think that anything is coming a lot faster than we think. I think that the store shelves, we're going to start seeing it. The store shelves are going to start emptying. The prices are going to go up on the things that are there. And we're in for a wild ride. And I don't think that there's going to be, I don't think that any good is going to come. There's not going to be a mysterious anything that saves us. We're on our own. All right. So you need to start acting like it. You need to get ready for it, and you need to be ready to take care of yourself, because I think things are going to get a lot worse before they get any better. So on that note, I'm going to let you guys go. I've got a show scheduled on Monday. Let me look here at the book. Probably not going to do a show tomorrow because my guest canceled. Let's see, who did I have? I had Jason Hewlett. So he canceled. He's going to be rescheduled. I don't have anybody booked until Monday. And then that's a 3-show week. I've got schedules Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then 2 shows next week, Monday and Thursday. And then 3 the week of the 14th. So I thank you guys for listening. I kind of was venting a little. Had some things I needed to get off my mind. And we'll be back when 420 says millions will freeze to death. That's all. Maybe. I think hopefully the power doesn't go out until winter's over. But then then you're going to have a lot of people sitting powerless in the summer with no air conditioning. And I get it. We've gone through life without air conditioning before, and the week will be, I guess, rooted out, right? I mean, that's part of the human condition. If you can't live in 90-degree weather, then you should probably move. So, same thing with the cold. make sure try to get yourself a fireplace, or figure out how to heat your house without power. These are things that you should know. You should figure this stuff out. If you're living in Canada and you don't have a fireplace and the power goes out, well, guess what? That sucks. Maybe get a place that has a fireplace. I don't know what to say. Or move. I don't know. You're gonna have to get out there. I think the time for moving and the time for setting up for what's to come is now. So get out there and start getting ready. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say. That was the point of this show. I think bad things are coming. I think wars are coming. I think we're already in a war. I think that we are currently fighting a war. It's kind of being hidden away. But I think eventually it's going to come to the surface. And I think that we need to be out there getting ready now. So get on it, people. And until next time, batten down the hatches and be safe.